All right, everybody, welcome back to the Shadowed Path. I am Nors, and this fellow here is Adir, son of Onar, my dwarf messenger in Middle Earth. We're here playing the One Ring 2E Strider mode. As you might see, I know that this gets a little washed out, but if I put my hand here, all of a sudden it focuses better. So I have another camera, so I can actually record my die rolls now. That's sort of annoying, but it is what it is. I bought a really, really cheap webcam to be able to do this. I guess you get what you pay for, right? But it's cool that I'll be able to actually have my dice rolled on camera now, rather than just telling you what I get. So I'm excited for that. So let's see. We're in Tharbad, the city of thieves and brigands, I guess. I mean, seeing as last time Adir met the lord of of Tharbad, who used to be a bandit, and he basically was like, I need to get across the river, and the bandit was like, no, we're not going to let you get across the river, and furthermore, if you even want to leave at all, you need to do me a favor. I found that part on the YouTube channel, so I'm going to just play that back so that I remember what happened last time. Let's take a listen. It says, you expect me to hunt down this thief in the night, and then will you help me cross the river? Gurnau says, no, that time has passed. If you want to leave this city in any way, you must do this thing for me. Either you find the thief, or you stay here. You said you wanted to leave. You wanted to leave quickly. Well, if your time is of the essence, you will do as I say. Find this thief, bring him to justice, and then you may leave, west or south or north, but you are not crossing the river. That's the end. Okay, so that was where we left off. A bit of a downer, I gotta say. So Adir has to figure out what's going on with this thief, which means I think we need to make some rolls to sort of get a sense of let's see here, session 9. I get a sense of who this thief might be or what their purpose is, although that might be more of a situation where I need to go ask about. Session 9 notes. Cool. So thinking back, Adir doesn't care about this thief. A thief stealing from another thief is inconsequential to him. He believes wholeheartedly his mission is to get across the river so he can get to Isengard. He is on his way to meet or to petition the White Council and the White Wizard to help him in his other quest, which is to discover the weakness of this monster that is in the caves in the Blue Mountains of the south. But so I can't imagine that he'd mind this thief, give this thief too much of his attention. He leaves, and I think the first thing he would do would be to try to go down to the docks and get across the river. And I think the king or whatever of let's see here. Gurno, yeah. Gurno asks Adir to investigate a thief in the night. Robin Hood character, question mark? Gurno will not let Adir leave the city until he finds this thief, and he can't cross the river in any circumstance, under any circumstance. That does not mean he's not going to try. So I think he goes down to the docks pretty immediately. I think there are people here. Sight, sound, smell. I always try to go through that. So he wanders through the streets. The towers are tall. I believe the sun was out last we played. Yeah, it is springtime. And there's seabirds, or at least river birds overhead, maybe gulls of some sort, screeching. The whole place smells, as he gets closer to the docks, like fish. There are many boats in the river. The great port. But there's no... Oh, guess this would be... Over here would be the proper place to go. Let's see, is there any other port? No, not really. So like this would be the spot here. So he'd come down this direction. I imagine there's many boats here. There's fishermen hawking. There's like a port guard. And I think Adir would know that the faster he could get down to the river and cross, the more likely it would be that he'd be able to do that without Captain Gurno, basically sending orders to not let the dwarf cross the river. And so I think at this point I am curious who he meets. So when thinking about who he meets, I am going to roll aspect focus. I think the aspect of them, and then like what they're focused on, or maybe the thing that Adir focuses on, would be the right call. So we're going to roll 1 and 1. So we got a 1 and 2. So yeah, 1 and 2. Ancient, interesting, and the focus 2 and 2. Okay. What? Ancient death. That sounds more like a event of some kind. I'm gonna pause here and try to interpret this. All right. So ancient death. Just reading up a little bit on Tharbad, and I think this is showing Adir's just not understanding where things are here. He goes down here thinking that this would be a place to get a boat across, perhaps, maybe find someone, but it turns out that the only thing that is here is the broken and dead structures of the Numenorians. The towers that once stood here, you can see, have fallen into this port, and it's unusable. There are people who tie up to some of these rocks, or the boulders and things like that, but there's not actually any boats that can go in and out with it that are big enough to get across the full river, as it is swift moving. Most people just put up dinghies and small boats here to take out to their larger boats that are tethered to these broken slabs. Still, I think he would try to find a way across, so would go down to the other parts, and there is a ferry. I think he would see it going back and forth here, or at least part of the way. And it comes from over here and goes up and around and across. Now, he wasn't very fast at doing this, so I think I need to make a roll for whether Captain Gurnow has maybe sent word to the docks that he is not to be allowed to cross. Okay, so has the order come from Gurnow to forbid Adir from crossing the river? I'm going to say likely. So 4 or greater, it's a yes. Always yes with an extreme result or twist. Oh, interesting. Huh. Okay. Always yes. I'd say that's ill fortune, right? So maybe this is a ill fortune roll. Because there's like, not only did he send word, but maybe he told his people that if Adir did show up to do something. Let's see here. I don't think the ill fortune table would really make sense here. So he approaches the ferry dock where there are quite a few people. Some people unloading from the small ferry, some people getting on, but also too there's like an armed guard present. And as he strides up, one of the guards goes, Hold, Master Dwarf. It seems you are not permitted on these premises. And Adir says, Oh, I do not know your meaning, sir. Please explain yourself. And the man reaches into his pocket. He goes, We've just received this from a runner. It says here that Adir, if that's you, this has your description. Red hair, red beard, dwarven, aye, is not to cross the river for any reason at all. Adir. Adir says, Oh, well, mine. I don't. Okay, hang on. I gotta check his character sheet here. I don't know if he'd lie, tell you the truth. Lordly, proud, folklore, strider are his things. So, lordly, I think he draws himself up to his full considerable height, which is, still not very tall. And he says, Oi, you might have word from your captain, the Venerable Gurnow, not to let me cross, but I have word from the likes of Elrond, Half-Elven, Balin, son of Hundin, and a great lord of dwarves, to cross this river and to take a case most urgent. Adir's accent just keeps on changing. Most urgent to the White Council in Isengard and the White Wizard Saruman. And I think I'm gonna try to sort of. It's not a bluff. It's certainly trying to awe them into basically being like, whoa, like you are so important. You're on an important mission. We'll help you cross. So there's a lot riding on this roll, and I'm gonna say I think this is a lordly thing to pull. It's sort of like a proud and lordly thing, right? So I'm gonna use a hope point and fancy myself inspired. Go down to 10 here, but I get I get 2 dice for hope die rather than 1. So I'm rolling 4 success die and the feat die here. All right. So I need to beat a 12. I think I can do that with this many dice unless something horrible happens. Let's go. Oh my gosh, I did so well. It's so good. You probably can't quite see it. So you got a 9. You've got a 6. Another 6. Another 6. So many 6s. This is crazy. And a 1, which that's fine. I don't need the 1. I just needed to beat a 12, and I got so much higher than that. So that's an extraordinary success. I get some bonuses now. This is great. So special success, gain insight, go quietly, make haste. These are the different things I can spend these icons on. And so I'm gonna use 1 on go quietly. And instead of like sneaking, like this isn't like a thing, it's more of overawing these soldiers. But it's like they're overawed and they know what is right and wrong, even if their captain is a swindler. And it seems to them, oh, this is cool, this is thematic and cool. It seems to them that the dark world of Tharbad that they live in suddenly brightens with mention of these great and powerful people, wise lords of Middle-earth. And some of that wisdom seems to be in the heart of Adir as well. And that they are under no delusion of who their captain is. Captain Gurnau is a thief and a brigand. And they know if they tell him that they betrayed or disregarded his request, they would be in big trouble. And that brings me to my second number 6 is widen influence. It is to make sure that none of them report back. It's not only going secret, so instead of go quietly, it's go secretly and widen influence, right? So that none of them get back to Gurnau. I don't want, some bandits chasing me along. And then I get 1 more, cancel a failure, build advantage, gain insight. And here I'm going to build an advantage and carry this extra D onto my next skill roll. That advantage, what is that advantage? Perhaps I'm just simply emboldened by the way that these say, let's see, how many guards are there? 7 of them. These 7 guards just seem to respond to my message very well, and that emboldens me. So I'm gonna keep that die for a later date as a bonus for my next skill roll. And furthermore, this means I get across the fucking river finally. That's been crazy. Adir, so they nod and, it's a big lie to tell. They sort of talk amongst themselves and then they nod and they go. And they say, very well, Master Dwarf, we will let you pass and cross the river if you so wish. But be wary of the land outside of our walls to the south and east. Many dunlings roam the land, and it is not a safe place for the lone wanderer to... It's not a safe place for a lone wanderer to be found? No. To travel. There we go. Adir bows deeply. I think... Let's see here. What do I have? Do I have anything that they could maybe... Oh, this is... look at that. This is so funny. I have an amulet that I found, I think in my first or second session, that's actually cursed. It's owned by some other monster or some other creature that I haven't explored yet, but it gives +2 to insight. And maybe... No, he wouldn't give it up. That's not right. Okay. Yeah. So he gets in the boat. The ferryman sort of gives him a peculiar look, especially with all the guards there. Usually there's not big groups of them. They're usually in pairs. But the man gives him a ride across the river and to the other side. All right. So at this point, I think it would be getting on in the evening. I don't think Adir would want to start off on the rest of his journey to Isengard at night. And so he would, and I just read here that the South Bank is sort of like patrolled and under lock and key. Soldiers of Gurnau don't let people just wander about. They escort Adir under armed guard when he gets off the ferry to the Roadhouse. That's what it's called. The inn is called the Roadhouse. And they tell him he can stay there that night and sort of talk to the... he insures them and he makes it clear to them that he'll be leaving the next day. He's not interested in sticking around. This is something he is totally happy to leave behind. Oh, interesting. I didn't know this thing existed right here. That's nice. So now the question is, who might he meet in the Roadhouse? Because, yeah, what's the vibe there? Let's find out. Okay, so we're going to roll an action aspect focus for this. So our action, the question is, let's bring up my notes real quick. The question is, what does Adir find in the road house? Okay, so here we go. I'm going to want that up, actually. So the first thing is action. Got a 10-5, which is uphold. Action. Uphold. Aspect. Focus. There we go. Second is going to 2 and 6. Oh no. 6 and 2. Lofty. And the last one Oh, Gandalf rune. And 5. Oh, it's going to be near the top. I forgot. Love. Uphold lofty love. That's the vibe in the Roadhouse. Huh. Interesting. That speaks to me of idealism, right? Like someone trying to hold on to an ideal. Yeah. Let's think on this. So I've been thinking. I took probably 5 minutes off and paused the stream or the recording, and I was thinking about uphold lofty love, and I was also thinking that it could be not necessarily romantic, but also upholding something lofty in love could be upholding an ideal that is like blind. And so I think when he enters, this is going to get darker than I thought. When he enters, there's a group of bandits who love Gurnau. They think he's just the greatest. It's like the bandit lord who became a king, right? They aspire to be like him. And so they're upholding this ideal of sort of the romanticism of banditry. And also the love of Tharbad in its current form, like Tharbad as not just as a city, but almost as its own nation within these walls. And as he enters, the bandits are maybe singing a song about how the outside world might be against, cold and unforgiving, but in Tharbad you can always find a friend. Outside the walls, anything goes, but we'll never be apart again. I'm rhyming all of a sudden. I don't know. About how a home will always be a place. Tharbad is always a place where you can find a home, even though outside has forsaken you. I don't rhyme anymore. And it also gets into the dwarves and elves and how they have forsaken the realm of men or humans. I don't like that men are considered human and women are considered female. So the realm of humans in general, and that of the north in Arnor and Eriador. And one of them, just as Adir enters with his guards, one of the bandits. How many bandits are there? It can't be one. So we'll add that. So 4. A bandit says something about like, who needs the elves and the dwarves stuck in the woods, hiding from the real problems that good folk like we suffer, while they just cower in their halls of stone, and who needs them? And at that moment, they see Adir, and Adir tries to stand tall. He doesn't acknowledge what was just said. He goes up to the barkeep and he says, "A room, if you would innkeeper. We'll say the innkeeper is a sort of a gnarled woman, not old, but perhaps just led a really hard life. And she nods, especially under watch of the guards who have led Adir to the roadhouse, and she gets him a key and leads him to a room. Now, my question here is, do the bandits try to rob Adir? Maybe not that night. Okay, hold up. Do the bandits... Oh, man, I had a pony. The pony came with me across the river. We'll say. Do the bandits... Or a horse. I still don't know the horse's name. If anyone wants to name the horse... I say this every single session. If anyone wants to name the horse, just put a name that makes sense for a horse in the comments. So what is happening is that my question is, do the bandits try to sneak into Adir's room and rob him? And I'm going to say it's middling. So 6 or greater is a yes. It's a 2. As you can see. So no, they don't. The second part is, do they try to rob him on the way out of town? So we're just going to fast forward to the next morning. I do get to sleep, which means I get to decrease my fatigue by 1 in a relatively safe place. Oof. I'm still really... Oh, wait, shoot. Why? I have so much fatigue. Okay, so do they try to rob him on his way out of town? Fast forwarding to the next morning, Adir is getting up and getting ready to leave. Do they try... And I'm going to say this is likely, so 4 or greater is a yes. That's a 4. As you can see. So yes, they do try to rob him. I'll say that he goes to his horse and has his things packed, and he just makes sort of earlier in the morning straight out of town. Now these bandits, they're probably not too smart, but they see that he is by himself and he's a dwarf. What the heck is a dwarf doing in Tharbad? And so when he is going up this thoroughfare, you can see that this rises up and then goes along this bridge and then a raised road right at this intersection. I'm thinking that Adir is getting like an early start. It is barely daybreak. 2 of the bandits on each side rise up approach, I should say, or I don't know if it's an approach, but it's certainly... Do they just run up in a fight? Do we do an opening volley? I don't think we do. I think they come up on either side of him. And the one that had been singing was, "Oh, whoa, there, dwarf. Where do you think you're going in such a hurry? The gate is closed to you at this time, and I think, seeing as you've been enjoying our city's hospitality, you'd be doing us no favor at all in making sure that we get our due cut of your presence here in our city." And he draws a knife and he goes, "Why not you just hand over some of your goods, and we'll let you go. The pony, for one, for the horse, and everything on it. And I think then you be on your way, and no harm to anybody. Though I suppose a profit to us. All the bandits laugh. Adir looks back and forth at them. He's unsure of whether he can take him, but he thinks he can. He lets the horse's reins drop, and he reaches crosswise across his chest to where his hand axes are at either hip. And I think the bandits sneer and they go, oh, right, little hero he is. Gonna have some fun with them boys, let's go. And we're gonna enter combat. But as they say let's go, they spring forward. Adir draws his hand axes and slaps the horse on its rear end with the flat of his hand axe, and it gallops forward. But he is there by himself to tend to deal with these bandits. So let's get some bandits here. Okay, so I'm going to be using the footpad stat block for this. Because I think I'd die otherwise. No, not quite, but it'd be ugly. So 4 footpads versus me, versus Adir. He is good with his axe, his 2 axes. Yep. So the first thing I would do, I get to go first, even though we're not going to do a range attack because they're so close. That's the point of them being footpads. Do close. I'm going to take that bonus die that I saved from my amazing successes last time. And nimble, wary. They're craven. Okay, cudgel and bow. They do have bows, but they didn't seek to kill him. They are just trying to rob his stuff and beat him up. So, yeah, here we go. If I score a special success, I can make another attack with my other weapon. That is the dual wielding thing that I just sort of made up. That's a homebrew rule. So, I'm looking to get a 12 or better. Oh, way better. Yep. Okay. So, as you can see, I did get that. So, that was a 10. So I really got a high score there. Did score a that's a piercing blow too on a 10. So I swing into one of these they have no parry. Yep, and 1 armor. Okay. And I slash down on one of them, and I'll make their armor roll. They need to beat 18. That's really high. Really? 18? Oh, right, I have axe times 2. Is that right? Seems extremely high. That's okay, I'm almost dead, so, okay. 18, they just need an Eye of Sauron. They didn't make it. Just cuts 1 down automatically. They only have 1 might. 2 resolve, 1 might. Yeah. And slays one immediately. Just smashes him right in the... gets him right across the chest and fells him. And then the next one, I get to attack again because I rolled a 6. And see if I can chain it again. I don't get the bonus die this time, though. We're going to go for... Yeah. 12 again. No, not even close. Missed it bad. 4, 3, 5. Oh no, I got it. I just got it. Barely. Oh wow. I thought this was not a 5 at first. I thought it was a 2. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Ha ha, I got him. Don't get a... Just do the 5 damage to the next one. So I know that these are D&D characters. I'm going to use them just for the HP part of it. They have 8 life, so if they go down to 1, then they're donezo. So, number 1, number 2, we'll just kill this guy off. All right, and then it's their turn. Yikes. So, let's see here. They get 2 with their cudgels, and they're shooting for, what's my parry's only 14, very low. Yeah, so 14, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, they miss with 1. Again. Oh, 9, 10, 11, 12. Miss again. And the third one with his club, with their club. Also misses with that 1. That is so lucky. Okay, they all miss. I think, let's see, awareness, hunting, athletics, courtesy, insight, travel. Is there like a insight? I think at this point, one of them's been killed in 1 hit, slayed one of the bandits. The others, another has been pretty seriously injured. And I think at that point it means that I'm going to roll, do a awe roll, as I think all these bandits are swinging at him with his cudgel, and he's blocking them away with his dual wielding axes. Adir swings back and goes, what does he say? He says, I have not come from the misty mountain, from the lonely mountain, to be done in by some footpads such as yourselves. Get you gone, and the rest of you can live and like your friend. And let's do an awe roll to try to get them to leave. Oh, shit. I got an Eye of Sauron. That's not good. Okay. They're going to attack again. There's 3 of them. They're all going to try to beat him to be... Just try to make him weary, I think. They need a 14. Oh, we got a 13. That was so close. That's crazy. Okay. And 1, 2. Gandalf, that's a 0 for them. Because they go the other way. Okay, and lastly, last one doesn't even get close. It's a 3, 1, and 5. Oh, I just changed it to an 8 on accident. 3, 1, and 5. So seeing as he couldn't intimidate them away, I think he's just going to go for the attacking, swinging at the one that's injured. 7. Oh, definitely hits and gets that second attack as well. Slays another, takes it down, spins around. I want you! Just taking him down sort of like Gimli, but with 2 axes, and sprints over to slash another. Oh, that's not going to do it though. For some reason I can't hit twice in a row. Alright, the other 2, I'm going to say, do they flee? I just don't like combat when it's doesn't make sense for these guys to stick around if they don't think they can win. There's two more bandits, we'll say a man and a woman, and they look at each other, and I'm going to ask the telling table, do they flee? And likely, I'll say, on a 4 up, they run away. That's a 7. So yes, they do indeed run. They look at each other and they beat feet as quickly as possible, leaving Adir breathing heavily, but still not, what's the word? Like breathing heavily, but hasn't broken a sweat. With 2 dead humans at his feet, he looks around. There is maybe some people like down here and down here, but it doesn't seem like they heard or cared to hear what happened. My cat is obscuring my camera. Wellington! Meow, come here. Come on. And he is gonna beat feet as quickly as he can to run down this direction. Now, does someone, as he approaches the gate, does someone find the bodies? And I'm going to say this is middling. So 6 or greater, it's a yes. Let's see. That's a 3. Oh, shit. Now, I think this might have been a misdeed for killing these bandits. I think I might need to do some tests on some things. Hang on. Let me look this up real quick. All right, this is tough because in the core rulebook it says murder. If they aren't like orcs or goblins or patrols or something like that, murder of another good person is 4 shadow points plus a shadow scar, all in one go. That seems like a lot. It does say intention. It is important to note that merely attempting to do something despicable is a misdeed, regardless of whether the actions succeed or not. Moreover, it is possible to commit a misdeed unknowingly. For example, attacking someone considered to be guilty of a heinous crime, but who later turns out to be innocent. In this case, the player hero should not gain shadow automatically, but only if they don't attempt to make reparations when their mistake comes to light. If their reaction is one of contrition and they show an earnest attempt to put the situation right, then they can be allowed to make a shadow test, wisdom, to reduce or cancel the shadow gain. Okay, so I think that makes more sense because it was self-defense technically. But that's interesting that it's only once the thing has been discovered in the core rulebook that it's the issue. I think I'm going to resolve that later because I think Adir is so fed up with Tharbad, with being delayed, with trying to get to Saruman and to try to get to Isengard. He's so frustrated by the fact that these people have not been helpful. They tried to steal his stuff. Like, Balin's mission is paramount, and so the fact that he has been treated as he has, he wasn't thinking about right or wrong. He was thinking, these people are trying to rob me and take my stuff. I'm not going to let that happen. He may look back on this and need to deal with it. This is like a potential for a shadow scar or more, perhaps. I am going to make a note in my session notes here that bandits tried to rob Adir. He killed 2 of them in self-defense. Yeah. So, like, there's humans that serve Mordor, right? And, like, you know, people kill them without getting shadow scars or whatnot. And this is not the same, but certainly, like, their actions were spurred by prejudice and anger and hatred toward Adir because he was an elf, a dwarf. And so I think the premise that he should automatically take shadow points is not necessarily good. Interesting. So I think this may be when he is forced to reflect. He will need to consider his actions and maybe take some shadow. Yeah, something like that. But he comes to the gate. There are gate guards, and I was gonna say, are they discovered? So wait, it's like bright, or like early morning. I'm gonna say it's doubtful that they're discovered, but we'll say an 8 up they are before he reaches the gate. That's 9. Okay, so they are discovered. What does that mean, though? Because he is hurrying away and has probably come to the gate as they're discovered. The gate guards speak with him. His horse is there. They're like, the horse, explains that his horse got spooked and got away from him, and he thanks them for their troubles, and they, charge a gate tax for him to leave. We'll say it's another 4 treasure rating for him to get that away and to get through the gate. At that point, shouts come from back where he killed the bandits as he's going through the gate. You can't make out what the shouts are about, but one of the morning guards says something like, go and, check what the commotion is. It's still early. It's just too early for that. Stop them yelling. It's not okay. And Adir, I think, would just beat feet. He's as quickly as he can. He's going to get out of Tharbad and back to his journey. Because Tharbad, it turned out, just sort of sucked for him in general. So that brings us back to here. There we are, leaving Tharbad. And I think there's Isengard. Look at that. We're not that far off. I'm going to say that we can get there even though the map doesn't go that far. Jeez. Really have traveled the whole way of this map. From Rivendell all the way to here, to all the way down to Adir, up to Tharbad, down to... Oh, jeez. And we're going to head into the Edenwaith next time, I believe, as he continues his journey. So that was session 9 of the Shadowed Path. Thank you for joining and watching. I had fun. I think it's always interesting because when I've taken, a break and haven't played for a while, I think I'm always a little confused, or not confused, of like it takes practice. The more I play, the better I get at this game. And yeah, when I haven't played in a while, I'm not as good at it. Like, it seems weird because TTRPGs don't feel like something that you get good at. I mean, you do with a group, right? But like as a solo player, it doesn't feel like you're either good or bad at it. It just feels like, you're playing by yourself. How can you be bad at playing the game? You're not interacting with anybody else. But I think a big part of it is about how well you interpret the roles and the oracles. I think that's really interesting. But yeah, it's worked out good. I hope it was nice to have the roles in front of you. I think that's sort of a nice touch. I always like it when players do that. I know this isn't the nicest setup, but I think it works okay. If you ever feel like playing the One Ring, I run a Discord server that's... Right now we're doing a summer campaign just for the next 3 weeks or so. I'm trying to sort of wrap it up in the next 3 weeks. But then I'll probably try, as I go back to work, I'm a school teacher. And so when I go back to school, I'll probably try to run a session maybe once every 2 weeks. Just a one-shot for people to jump in with their character, gain experience. You can upgrade your character and take them forward to other adventures that I run. Or, dare I say, other adventures that other GMs run. It's a West Marches server, shared table. And so my hope is to get other people who are interested in running games as well as playing. But obviously, playing games is the first step. Which I say that, but I've actually never played as a character in a session. I have only ever GM'd. So I don't know what it's like to play in a session. I bet it's fun. I play as a GM. So if you're interested... Excuse me. If you're interested in playing the One Ring with me, shoot me. You can find me on Discord. Shoot me, just .nors. Shoot me a message, and I'll add you to our server, and we can get you onboarded. So, all right. Until next time, we'll see what Adir, son of Onar, gets up to on the Shadowed Path.